classroom, so we're going to get started. It is great to see or be with you all today. Last year we did a session on from Sandy Hook Promise on knowing signs, and today we decided, based on some of the things that have been going on at the school, that we need to have a conversation about our school-wide expectation of respect for community. So that's our focus today, thinking about respect for community. It's one of the excuse me, 3 ACE Chase school-wide expectations: respect for self, respect for others, and respect for community. And what I'd like to do before we get into the meat of what I want to specifically talk about, I want to just see some impressions of what respect for community means to people in their advisory groups right now. So take 1 minute to discuss the term respect for community, and maybe put a few phrases into the chat box right now so we can see how we're defining respect for community. So we'll do 1 minute to do that right now so we can get some comments and some feedback on what people think respect for community means. So there's respecting of peers, cleaning up and keeping the campus clean, not judging, respecting teachers, holding doors for people, cleaning up after yourself. So there's some great things coming out here. Treating people how you want to be treated, not throwing trash on the ground, no spitting, keeping bathrooms clean and orderly, not stealing tags, not being a bully. These are all great examples from everyone that are sharing things about what it means to be respectful for the community. And our community is our school. It's not just someone's not muted. If we could just check the mute on that. So we've got some great things: being quiet in class, staying on path, not littering. You know, there's lots of reasons we talk about these things as respect for community, and let's go into some specific ones that we feel we need some work on as a school community. So I want to talk about some of the things that have happened recently, and maybe we can think about how we as a community, the Chase students, the Chase adults, can really develop that respect in a little more detail. So I'll start with actually the one on the bottom left, the lockers. And we had some incidents where people were not showing respect for their peers by going into their lockers and taking things, specifically some tags from backpacks. And some of the reasons we heard for this, because there was this TikTok trend going on. But I want you to think about that. Just because TikTok is doing something, is it right? Is it something that should be done? You know, we have to put our own filters on and think about how we want to be treated and treat others the same way. Taking things out of people's lockers is a violation of their privacy. Just opening someone else's locker in itself is a violation of their privacy. And we as a community believe that we work together for things. That's our underlying philosophy. We shouldn't have to have locks on lockers because people respect the dignity and the privacy of the stuff that's in there. We've also had some recent issues with bathrooms. We had issues with bathrooms last year, and we made a modification to the way we use bathrooms. So we extended freedom to students to use the bathrooms appropriately. But respect for the community is taking care of those spaces and not making a mess in the bathrooms or causing damage to them. And let's think about who gets impacted by that. It's not just the mess that's there. Then someone has to clean that mess up. And that's really not what they should be doing during the day. They shouldn't be cleaning up messes in bathrooms or dealing with damage in bathrooms. And that's because we expect, both the lockers and the bathrooms, we expect you to do the right thing. And we do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because someone's watching us or telling us to do. We have to be able to hold ourselves to a higher standard in these situations. I've got some comments that some students were during an athletic event, which we're so excited when students come out to support their peers. That's a great way to celebrate our community. And when we hear that students are being disruptive or saying inappropriate words or making negative comments toward opposing guests, and or their families, that's not respect for community. We want the athletic events to be a celebration of our student athletes and support in the positive realm for them. And the last one I want to talk about, which we'll talk about in a little more detail, is online respect for community, because that was the one that impacted us on Friday and over the weekend when we received a threat against the school. And we found that threat to be a non-credible threat, meaning that that the issue was not actual or real, but it was still done. And sometimes people say, they do stuff online or they do stuff in lockers or they do stuff. I was just joking. But I always ask the question, like, what's the joke? Because if it's not, these things are not jokes, and threats are dangerous. And there are real consequences, unfortunately, and those are school consequences, and they might be police consequences as well for doing things online that are dangerous and suggest threats toward the school and the school community. I'd also just like to indicate that many students have access to phones, and there are things and images you can get and or share with others which might also be highly inappropriate and illegal as well. So we're talking about pictures of children or adults that are not clothed in any way, and those are also things that have been spread, and again, can involve a school penalty and can also involve a consequence in the community with the police. And we don't want anybody to be in those situations, because things are not just jokes, and they are serious. And people really get scared sometimes when they see threats or things that they don't want to see. And the question sometimes is, like, how do you respond to that situation online? And I would suggest to you that sometimes the strategy is not always the best strategy if you start sending it to other people. If you have a concern or you see something that's concerning, send it to your trusted adult or talk to your trusted adult about it, and reach out to the school, reach out to a parent, reach out to a guardian, a family friend, share it with them so they can get it to the right people so we can address it. If it starts spreading among students, then sometimes we amplify problems that don't need to be amplified and or can be solved in a simpler way. I always say, like, when I think about something that I'm going to post online or a message I'm going to send, I give it what I call the Grandma Julie test. And this is my Grandma Julie, and she's passed away, but she would have been 104 now, and all the ladies out there, that hair color is actually her. She was 90 in this picture, and that's her hair color. She didn't dye her hair her entire life. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I give myself the Grandma Julie test. If I were going to send something to someone, what would my Grandma Julie say to that? And those of you, some of you might think about, who is that person for you that you would be thinking about? So maybe it's a grandmother or grandparent, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a trusted adult, a coach, maybe it's an older cousin. Think about who your person is that's your filter. If I send something, what would my fill in the blank person think? So what would my Grandma Julie think if I sent a message of X, or I sent this, or I sent that? How would she respond to it? And let that be some of your inner guide to figure out how to best address a situation. Okay, so I want to say, some of you might be saying, well, gee, Dr. LaBanca, this is all well and good, but I don't do those things. I don't send inappropriate messages. I'm respectful at games when I go to games. I've never gone into someone else's locker, and I do what I'm supposed to do in the bathroom. So does this really apply to me at all? And I said, well, maybe you can think about your role in the process as a member of the community. And, we talk about bystanders and upstanders all the time. A lot of times we talk about bystanders and upstanders in terms of bullying, but we can be bystanders for respect to our community, or we could be upstanders So if you see something that's going on that you don't like and you know is not respect for community, you should do something about it. You should take a stand. You should say something. And you can either say something to the person that's doing the wrong thing or say something to a trusted adult, but be an upstander, because when we own our community and make sure we take responsibility together for our community, that's how we make Aces at Chase a better and special place. So I want to encourage you to be an upstander and go beyond being the bystander, especially if you're not a person who might have been involved in some of these things. And I always like to say, you do something because it's the right thing to do, not because someone is watching you do it. So think about that, of doing the right thing because you know it's the right thing to do, not because someone's watching you and expects you to do the right thing. We want to turn you into mature, magnificent young adults, and part of that is being a respectful person, especially for the community. And so I'm going to end with a charge right now, and that charge is to make a commitment. And so the teachers all received cards in their mailbox for everyone to make a commitment of how you are going to respect your community. So you might start this process by having a conversation, teachers, in the classroom with your students. If we don't have enough time today, we can certainly roll this over to next Tuesday as well. What are you going to commit to do as an individual student, as a member and a very important member of the Aces at Chase community? So how are you going to show respect for community? What's your commitment to the school and our respect for community? And so you can fill out one of these cards after having conversation in the classroom. I would expect they would be probably different for everybody, but maybe there might be some similarities. And then teachers, when you have your cards done, put a little tag with your name on it so I know you got yours back, and give them either to Mrs. Acevedo or Mrs. Rodriguez so we can make a display of them to show how the Aces at Chase community is building its network together. So at this point, I'm going to stop my conversation right now. I'm going to turn it back over to all the teachers in the classrooms with the students, so you can figure out how you're going to do next steps of showing respect for community to make Aces at Chase the magnificent place it is. So have a great day, everyone. Conversations back to the classrooms, and we'll see you around the halls.